please welcome to our group today the beautiful Priscilla Diaz, who is in the house, one of our stars of release. We've got Ian Paola, who's also in the film. He kicks butt in a major way. I don't want to give anything away. And of course, our wonderful, hot and sexy director, Adel Morales. Welcome, folks.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kick off a question, and starting with Priscilla, Ian, and then Adele. I want you to just give me, in a nutshell, what the experience was like working on a film like Release.
Yeah, it was fun, honestly. As crazy and like super tragedy the film is, it was a fun time with everyone. And I think probably the most reason why that was because we were like a family, and we were only there for like a certain amount of time, but every time we got together and we got on set, it was a good time. And I think that was my favorite part about it. The unity of everyone coming together and making magic happen is just something that's irreplaceable, seriously.
Yeah, same here. I mean, the experience with everybody, when we first started, we practically, well, not everybody, but I was kind of like a stranger to everyone. But as the film progressed and towards the end of the film, we kind of became like a family. I mean, we're practically with each other every day. I mean, 12 hours a day for about a month's time. And yeah, it was a great experience working with everybody from the cast to the crew to everyone else involved, for sure.
Yeah, for me it was yeah, we throwing the word around family, and it's the same in that I'd worked with a lot of the cast and crew previously. I'd wanted to work with Priscilla before. I worked with Victor. I worked with La Bruja, Chachi. The whole crew were NYU film students that I spent last 3, 4, 5 years with. So yeah, it was a genuine feeling of care that went into the movie, that I don't know that you find on other film sets. So I attribute that to a combination of being, NYU thesis project, and then it's a HollyHood. Film sets tend to be that way anyway. But yeah.
So now you get the script for Release. I don't know if you guys are offered the roles from the beginning. What was the process to get into this film and to impress such a hot and amazing, sexy director like Adel Morales to get into the film?
Well, speaking for myself, I I recall it was a Saturday, and I got an email through Actors Access from Elaine, you know, so requesting, for me to well, she was asking if I would be interested in a role as a lead role. Had no idea what she was talking about, but I responded to her. I was like, yeah, said something, all casual, like, yeah, whatever, just, send me the link. I mean, send me the script and I'll check it out. And then she was like, all right, cool. And then that same afternoon, she sent it to me. I read it. The next day, I hit her up. I was like, yo, I want to talk to Adele, like I want to meet her because honestly, when I read the script, I told Adele when I first spoke to him, I don't know if you remember that, but I was like, damn, I felt like he wrote this for me because I felt like so comfortable, even, despite the film, I felt really comfortable in being able to, deliver the message that, Adele had pictured for this. I just felt like it was just a perfect fit. And I always told myself, even on the first day of set, I never told you, Adele, but I always told myself, I said, Adele has to be one of the biggest gamblers. And I say that because, the role was offered to me. I didn't have to audition. He never seen me spit a line, but yet he had the faith, in trusting me for this role. So I remember the very first day I was on set, I was like, man, I hope, I don't disappoint him because, I've never auditioned for this, you know what I mean? So I hope everything works out. And there was like one take that we did, and I looked at it down. He looked like really satisfied. And I was like, all right, cool. From here on out, we're good,
Yeah, that's so dope. That's crazy. I didn't know that. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. And so funny because even during our table read, I remember you reading for the script, and I thought I thought you were like working with them behind the scenes at one point. I'm like, damn, this is good. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta step my game. I'm like, oh fuck. Damn, I didn't even know you. That's crazy. That's amazing. That's really, 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 really amazing. I think as for me, I would say that I'd say like for me. Wait, what was the question again?
Well, the question was,
Reading the script.
at reading the script, like, did you get offered the role at the top? What was it like seeing, getting it for the first time?
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because I think Adele was, I don't even know how it happened because it happened so fast. I don't know if it was Elaine, the casting director, that also sent the actor access kind of invitation to do the audition, or if it was Adele that you reached out to me first. But I remember having dinner with you. I think both, but I remember having dinner with you. I remember getting the script. I remember reading it. And I was like, I really felt like this script, like Ian said, was written for me. Like, I was like, this is the exact work that I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I worked days before the audition, just on the script, noting, doing a bunch of stuff. Got to the audition, was a little nervous. And I remember auditioning for it, and I could just feel like this freaking role was made for me. Like, seriously, it was just so freaking good. And obviously the writing has a lot to do with that. When the writing seems so effortless, when the words seem so effortless, it's just, the acting just comes out, right? So yeah, I just remember feeling like this is what I want to do. I'd be so sad if I don't get the
Um, so Adele, you wrote this film. You wrote this on your own, and I think what I do love is that you explore, some of the things that happen in our communities that are not always addressed, or no one takes a lens into the community to show what happens when a man comes out of prison in our community, how that affects his family, those around him, how the cycle continues because of just the way that things are built in terms of the way the system fails us.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask you, where did the idea come from? And maybe you can tell us a little bit about the film for those that don't know much about it just yet.
Well, so the impetus came from, I was doing research on what I wanted to tell, what was going to be my feature, like what was I going to spend. I now spent 4 years at NYU, produced a feature. I had a horror film that got into second round of Sundance Lab, optioned, but then nothing happened with it. I was nervous. I spent all this time saying I was going to make a feature, and I didn't have a story. So I figured I wanted to do something that dealt with our community. I was focusing on the Rockefeller laws that a couple, 20 years ago, they were sending people away for 20 years, 3 strikes and you're out. And those folks are coming back. And, the idea of, are we ready to receive them as a community with the not just the physical ailments, the mental health for aspects, and getting them a job, things like that. So I started exploring that. And that in the research there, I'm looking up news articles on folks who come back from prison and what life is like. There was an article about a father who came out of prison and never met his daughter. And then I think the headline was like triple homicide or something like that. It was, he had sex with his daughter and killed her. She was pregnant, and himself. And so that tragedy blew me away. And I don't remember seeing any story like that dove in to the reasons why something like that happened, because just that headline made me say, oh my God, like, these people didn't wake up 5 years ago thinking they were going to be in the front of a newspaper. You know what I mean? Like, that story was, how did that happen? That had to happen some way. And that was interesting to me. And this was upstate New York. I turned the setting into, the Bronx. But yeah, man, that was how that led to that. And putting it into the Bronx is what made it feel, I think, was what made it feel natural to both Priscilla and Ian. because it was happening to like my uncle or my cousin or my, these were the voices in that I had in these characters. Um, in doing research, again, I'm big on research. If the script's not popping off the page, then you don't want to shoot it. So I was looking at a bunch of incest films, from Europe. Most of them, a lot of them are from Europe, and that gave me a whole bunch of ideas to kind of stick to. It's not a genre, but there's more than one film that deals with incest, and it's not. And our film is. I don't want it to just. It's not an incest movie. It's a movie that deals with what happens when you lock someone away. And I think you said it very well earlier. When you put someone in prison for 20 years with no care for what happens to him, his family, and the people that he's left behind. So yeah, that was everything that kind of stirred the creation of wanting to tell this story. Some people said I was crazy to want to tell it, but some people said that the name of my company was crazy. Why I want to call us HollyHood, and it's whatever. It's what I am. But yeah.
Well, I'll be honest with you. A while back, you had told me, we talked about HollyHood Productions, and you said, HollyHood Productions is a state of mind. It's us doing what they're doing in Hollywood, where we grew up in the Bronx. And because I'm from the Bronx, for me, I just thought that was super dope. It was just great to hear that you're taking control of how you produce things on your terms.
Well, I mean, it was like a dream come true. It premiered at Urban World Film Festival, Harlem, New York City, 42nd Street, to a sold out theater, 256 seats, I think. So like that alone was magical. And then you take into consideration, like on my way out the theater, this executive from UMC is like, I loved your movie, I want to buy it. I'm like, wait, what? Like that straight out of HollyHood, right? Like that you read, that happens in movies, and that's supposed to happen to me. So I from there, I think it was received well, because it took me, that was in September, and then, to get all the deliverables to them by January so that it could premiere in March. In terms of the festival runs, it didn't do as well as I had hoped, but again, it's a roller coaster of a ride. It's extremely controversial. It's not for everyone. You're dealing with two broken individuals who happen to be looking for a connection and find one in them, and it's a mess. It's not right or wrong. It's a mess. And
why should people go to see this film? Why should they make it a point to see this film?
I think everyone should watch this film because it gives you a different perspective. It's literally giving you a different angle, if you will. A different perspective on life for certain people, for certain individuals. Me personally, I had a personal connection to this film. Personally myself, I'm an ex-con. Of course, I never did a hard time like Maverick did, but I have a soft spot for ex-cons as well, and I wanted to help get that message out. By playing this role that, there's not a lot going on for these people in there, and when they come out, there's not a lot. This don't really have a support system, and these people are really, really messed up, and they're dealing with a lot. They dealt with a lot on the inside, and then they have to face these challenges when they come out after serving all that time in there. So I definitely think it helps get the message out. There's a lot, of course, there's a lot in this film, but if you haven't seen it and you do want to see it, and at least for me, I would say, from that perspective, just the challenges that people deal with on a day-to-day basis, after serving so much time in prison and coming home to deal with a family they don't know.
Yeah. I think for me, I would say, if you want a film that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat, go do it. Watch it. Because every person that's watched this movie that hits me up is like, what happened at the end? That's almost the same question. What's going on? It's such a good film. It's a good film. It's a good story. And it is different. And I think that even though it's different, there's a lot of humanity in it that a lot of people can resonate with it. And again, it's just two people trying to find answers as to why things are the way they are in their life. And they try to find these answers within them. And obviously, you'll have to see the film to see what happens, but everyone can resonate with that in the sense that there is healing to do all the time within us. And sometimes we try to find those healings through other people, and it's just sometimes the answer is within. So yeah, it's a good story. It's a good film. Gotta check it out.
I'm gonna say, similar things, in that the movie deals with the cycle of poor decisions that we face in urban communities, right? Families watch their older family members make mistakes, and they end up making the same mistakes, whether it's early childhood pregnancy, drug addiction, whatever, right? And this film captures that in a very real way, but gives you hope, and not the kind of hope at the end of a movie where you're walking away like, oh my God, he saves the day, but hope in that both characters make a decision that will maybe correct their future. Like they stop making a bad decision, both of them. And so it offers hope, a slow, small bit of hope, but one that will change both futures for the positive. And we don't see that in urban stories. There's usually guns and drugs and violence, and yeah, man, I think we got one gun. So it's a story that it's rated R. Don't take the kids to see it, but it's one where you will find hope if you're looking for it.
And Priscilla, I just want to also congratulate you on your recent nomination for the Mahing Awards for your performance in Release. And that is a huge, huge deal. I mean, you're on a list with some amazing actors, people who you probably looked up to or look up to. And it's just really great to see you in that list because of all of the work you've done up until this point. Um, and in the process, when this movie was first released, I remember seeing you at the theater and you were ready to have a baby, and now you have a baby, and now you're getting ready to be a part of this amazing event. How are you preparing for that? Where is your brain? Have you processed this yet?
And
Definitely.
hold on, Priscilla, before you answer, let me just reiterate that Priscilla's performance on Release, just to clarify, has gotten her nominated for Best Actress in a Film. Proud of you, proud of you.
I mean, to be honest, there's still a lot that I'm processing. And I think, first of all, I screamed like off the top of my lungs to the point my baby got scared. Like, oh, what happened? But one, it's first of all, it's an honor to be in the same space as the other nominees. And again, some of which I've looked up to my whole life, and just truly an honor.